Hello and welcome. My name is Biagio Mazza, Pastoral Associate at St. Sabina Parish in Belton, Missouri, and I'm here to welcome you to another Do You Know series question. Today's question is, do you know why St. Valentine's is associated with love and lovers? In order to understand this, it's important to go back into the tradition and find out about St. Valentine. And one of the things we know up front is that we know very little about St. Valentine. He was supposedly, the tradition says that he was a priest, a Roman priest in Rome, and that he was arrested under the Emperor Claudius II, Roman emperor, and was essentially tortured into trying to give up his faith. He refused, and then eventually Claudius was impatient with him, and in the year 270 he just happened to be beheaded. We do know that his devotion to him was cultivated, so that in the year 350, a whole basilica was constructed in Rome in honor of St. Valentine. And that is about all that we know about St. Valentine. The association of Valentine with lovers is very interesting. There are a number of legends or number of causes of how this happened and so on. But all that we know is the first connection of St. Valentine's to love and lovers was made by Chaucer, roughly in the 14th century in England, in which in his writings he claimed that February the 14th was the day in which birds chose their mate for future progeny. Later on in the 1400s, we have some notices of people sending out letters on the feast of St. Valentine's to their lovers, proposing marriage most of the time, proposing connections, and so on. So we have those two things, but we're not quite certain why Valentine got associated with lovers. Those are mentions of them and so on. One other possibility, which is a strong possibility that a number of scholars have suggested, is that in the Roman Empire, previous to Christianity coming to power, there was a famous celebration that occurred in the middle of February known as the Feast of the Lupercalia. Now this feast was dedicated to the god Lupercus, who was the pastoral god of nature and so on. And they prayed to this god for protection against lupus or wolves. But this also became an occasion, since it was under the patronage of the Roman goddess of love, Juno. This became an occasion for lovers to exchange notes of the endearing love, occasion for proposals of marriage, even for marriage to occurred. And as typical of Roman festival, they were always associated with some sort of fertility rites, which got associated to wine, women, song, and all that. And so when Christianity came into power, they decided that it was difficult to undo this festival. However, what they did is, instead of putting it under the patronage of Juno, the goddess of love, they put it under the patronage of Saint Valentine. And so many people think that that is where the association between Valentine and lovers actually came about. But to be honest with you, we don't know. All that we know is that there is this association, and it continued through the centuries, and into the 19th and 20th century, it became an occasion for marketers to really start to push love on this day, and especially with regards to flowers, those who make candies, chocolate, and so on. It's important to note, too, that in the revision of the liturgical calendar in 1969 from the Second Vatican Council, that St. Valentine was actually removed from the calendar of the saints, and the feast, February the 14th, is actually the feast of St. Cyril and Methodius, and not St. Valentine. But because it captured the imagination of people in the culture and our tradition, it is still referred to as St. Valentine's Day, and we continue to have it associated with love, lovers, candy, flowers, and so on. So I hope this has explained just a bit about St. Valentine's Day and its association with lovers, and I hope that you will return again to really explore more of our traditions with regards to love, lovers, and getting to know more about our faith. So thank you very much.